We're with Jennifer Gracia today. Jennifer, what made you decide to run for council at large?
Well, thanks for having me, Joe. One thing that made me want to run for city council is I'm a local advocate, and I deal a lot with policy and advocating for people with disabilities, environmental rights, and I also I've done federal policy and state policy. And I thought, what about policy in my own backyard? So that is something that really drove me to level up my advocacy and get a seat on city council to really look into some good quality policy for the people.
Yes, ma'am. Given your policy background and your advocacy, what are some of the challenges you see facing Corpus Christi, and how would you like to face those challenges as a council member at large?
I think one of the things that the city faces, just between the classes, the middle class, the wealthy, low income, the indigent, there's people who experience Corpus from different lenses and have tons of privilege and get to do all these wonderful things and utilize a lot of resources that the city has. That sometimes these resources are not spread around, where the working class, the low income, the indigent don't always get their fair share. So I think that's going to be a challenge because there are generations upon generations in this community that have had their hands in the honeypot for a while. And it's time to undo some of that because it's been going on for so long. Another thing that I like to say is my ears are physically small, but they're actually pretty big because that is one of my superpowers is I'm able to listen and hear what people have to say. And so I think that's another challenge. Sometimes it's hard to get a hold of people at City Hall, at different departments. Even sending off an email, sometimes you won't get a response back. Or even if you have concerns and you go through the city's call center, sometimes it won't get solved at all. I've heard people's stories throughout the years. So that is something that will be a challenge, and I think it's communication throughout not just city council, throughout city hall, throughout the city departments, and the community. I like to say that Harbor Bridge is not the only bridge that needs working on. We need to bridge those gaps within our communities because there are gaps there. And I'm a friend to a lot of people. My friends like to call me Jen the Friend. However, I can be a little bit of a bulldog when it comes to policy. So I talk to everyone. I'd like to help connect more community members. And I think having a place on the dais, I can help do that on an even bigger scale.
Yes, ma'am. In addition to bridging some of those gaps and helping people come together and addressing the distribution issue, is there anything else you'd like to see as a council member at large?
Yes, I'd like to see different corporations be held accountable and held to the same distinction as our taxpayers. A lot of the times, taxpayers get caught footing the bill for things they might not know about. So, to me, transparency is also something I would like to work on for City Council. We have the right to ask for, have our questions answered, have public information shared, and we have a right to ask for ethics and violations that comes with it. The public has that right. So transparency is also big. I'd like to see different corporations that have been here forever. They're not going anywhere, sure, You're here to stay, but make sure that you are paying your fair share. I also feel like when we look at the budget for the city, we look at certain pay raises for certain individuals, I think we have two questions to ask ourselves. One, is this a healthy ROI for our community, a return on investment? Two, is the lemon worth the squeeze? And please think about that. Is the lemon worth the squeeze? Corpus Christi has been here for years. As I've heard in these different forums, Corpus Christi is open for business. I understand that. But let's be a lady about it and be careful who we're getting into bed with. And as a lady, we don't just pick up our skirt to anyone. We need to remain calm. We need to remain steadfast and have community first.
Yes, ma'am. Is there anything you'd like to say to the people?
Yes. I'd like to humbly ask my fellow Corpus Christians, as I'm a hometown girl, born and raised, if for your vote this election season, I am number 4 on the ballot for City Council at large. And if you have a hard time remembering Jenny Gracia for number 4 on the ballot, just remember my boyfriend, Dak Prescott's number 4 from the Dallas Cowboys. I'll be right there with the star by my name. Thank you.